Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. It is Just Hoop Talks. We're talking basketball. We're back at it. As you guys can see, we are at home, social distancing, being responsible, trying to stay healthy, trying to get through this thing so we can get back to playing some
Try not to touch my face, man. I did that on the last episode.
That's almost impossible, man.
Man, it's like a bad habit.
I've been washing my hands and doing taking all the necessary precautions, But I'm ready to get back to some basketball. But in the meantime, we're going to be talking about we're going to be touching on some topics, like trying to find some stuff to talk about, getting creative. As you guys have probably seen on YouTube and ESPN, all the old games are coming out. So right now we're digging in the vault,
Yeah.
And we're going to dig in the vault today. We're going to talk about our top 5 positions. We're going to break down some positions. So we're going to start with the centers today. So we're going to talk about our top 5 all-time centers. Centers are a position that used to be like the primo position in the league.
Man, this took a whole different change now, man. It's like almost like that position's getting eliminated, and it's almost like you're running two power forwards now, so to speak.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those guys shoot just as well as some of the guards. So it's interesting because our top 5 now is going to be way different than our top 5 in like 10, 15 years, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be even like it'll be hard to call guys centers at some point,
Yeah.
Say, was he really a center, because if you think about the top centers in the game today, they're borderline, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, is that a center or is that a big man? He's out there shooting threes. So.
Well, I think that's what made like a lot of these centers hit that list the right way. I think that's why they're so etched in stone, is because they were such a dominant figure and they played the way that a center is supposed to play.
Yeah.
These guys now, it's like you start to think of some of the younger guys. Obviously, I don't think I have Anthony Davis on my list, but you think of him, but like, is he a center or is he a power forward?
Right.
Obviously, he plays a 4, but a lot of people would categorize him as a center, and probably old school ways he may have played a little different. So.
Yeah, back in the day, he would have been a power forward for sure, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think you think he'd have been a forward. I think his playing style would have been a forward, but I think because of his height, they would have groomed him to be a center.
He has the center size for sure.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting. I think that this position will be a blend soon, kind of like how they're doing with the All-Star game. They got rid of positions, positionless thing. So we'll see. But we got our 5 right now, right?
Yeah, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So number 5, I got the ring man, Bill Russell, at number 5.
Yeah,
a lot of that's because I didn't see him play,
Yeah.
So I think me seeing some of these other guys play gave me a little bit of an advantage, but Mr. 11 rings, Bill Russell at number 5. Number 4, got to go with the King, man. The King was too nasty, offensive and defensive, man. Number 3, I'm going to go Wilt. And, I think that some people might have – I don't know where you got him ranked, but I saw Shaq play, who's my number 2. Shaq, I saw him play, man. Shaq, my number 2 most dominant player I've ever seen in my life. And number 1, you got to go Kareem, man. All-time leading scorer, change the game with the jump hook, man. Like, that's my 5, man.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because we talked about this before. We were like, these are probably going to be the same.
Yeah.
I have the same top 5, but I have a different order, so I'll start off mine in order. So I got Bill Russell at number 5. Again, it's hard because we didn't see him, but you got to put him on the top 5 list.
11 rings, I mean,
you can't not put him on there. And I got Wilt at number 4, kind of the same situation, just like going off of rumors and what we've heard,
Yeah.
Number 3, I got Hakeem. I do remember Hakeem playing, and I remember he was a problem, man.
Problem, dog. The footwork.
Yeah. And then I got Kareem at number 2, and I put Shaq at 1, man. Obviously coming from a Kings fan's perspective, I remember him in his prime, and he was just unguardable, man.
I mean, you remember dunking on Dudley and just pushing him out the way.
Yeah.
He was such an unstoppable force, man.
Yeah, I think Shaq kind of in his prime was probably one of the most unguardable players we've ever seen, man. Honestly, there was nothing that you could do about that guy at all.
They used to triple team him, and Vlade was 6'11", damn near 300 pounds, and just push him around, dude.
Just bodying him.
It's crazy.
I think the only person that really slowed Shaq down was Shaq,
Yeah.
Shaq never really took things that serious. He was kind of a fun guy, liked to joke around a lot. He could be in Bill Russell's category for sure with
And I think that's the reason why I don't have him at number one.
Yeah.
I think that if we would have saw him play his career out with the Lakers, get
Right.
7-8 rings, like he probably would have if Kobe and Shaq would have stuck together.
Yeah.
Like that would have been obviously the number one. I think talent-wise, you can't doubt what Shaq has. Like know he's probably the most dominant figure on there. But Kareem had that longevity.
He did.
He had, scoring damn near 40,000 points. I don't know if it was over 40,000. I think it was just under.
Just under, yeah.
40,000 points almost.
Yeah.
I mean, changed the game. Like I said, that hook shot, man, it was unguardable. First unguardable real shot in the league. And I think the talent disparity wasn't there like it is in today's NBA. Right. The difference between Kareem and Shaq, like the 80s and 90s ball wasn't too much different in terms of talent, but you see what he brought to the table, and obviously a lot of the guys respect him. A lot of the bigs, they respect what he brought to the table and how he really changed the game. Wilt's such a different topic because you can't really go off of like true stats. It's a lot of it's hearsay, and they didn't count steals, they didn't count blocks. So like he scored 100 points and had 25 blocks, and it's like, and the talent level wasn't the same.
Right. It was different, man. It was definitely a different era, a different time period. A lot of it, like, and we just never saw it. Like, we don't even know who he was playing against, Like, we can say there was a different talent level, and we're just assuming, like, we don't even know who was he playing? Who was in that game? Like, we have no idea, bro.
I'm like, if you'd have thrown Shaq or, like, Giannis in that time period, they probably would have done similar numbers.
Yeah, of course. He's cut from that.
There.
Yeah, Wilt's definitely cut from that. Like, you see pictures of him, he's cut from that same type of cloth. Like, he was a freak,
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of other freaks like that around him at the time. So it's like, obviously he's going to score 100 and average 50 easy,
Dude, and the rules were just like the rules of the game weren't the same. You didn't have guys taking threes. You didn't have, I think the shot clock was different. In the paint, like three and the key was different. Goaltending was different.
All they did was dump the ball down in the post. Like, that's all they did,
Well, from what I remember, this could be wrong. This is me being a basketball historian. I try to be – I'm pretty sure offensive goaltending wasn't even a thing. So they would shoot it, and he would just catch it and dunk it. Like, I'm like, come on, man. You putting up 100 and you didn't even do nothing really. So does that count as an offensive rebound or what? So,
right.
But, man, Hakeem, we did get to see Hakeem, and we got to see him in the 90s, especially when Jordan went out. He brought that whole team to the forefront, and him going against young Shaq. Yeah. And I think the one thing that Shaq, Kareem, and Wilt didn't do as well is be that defensive, just lockdown presence that Hakeem was.
He was.
And as a defender, I think that's probably why you hear Shaq talk about Hakeem a lot, is that defensive side, man.
Yeah.
And, I think that he probably could have had more rings. If it wasn't for Jordan, I think he probably would have had more rings too,
Definitely. It's interesting to see someone like Hakeem and, like, the footwork and, like, even the ball handling that he had. Like, players back then, big men weren't encouraged to go out and step out a little bit,
Yeah.
He looked like somebody who had the skill set, who could have, stepped outside and, like, got by guys and shot it a little bit. Because he had – you remember, like, the dream shake and all that? Like, he was crafty, man. Like, he had a nice little handle. He had great footwork. Like, he had quick feet. Like, that's why he was able to block so many shots and stuff. So it would have been great to see some of those guys, in today's game, like, be encouraged to step out and get some bump fakes and go by guys, or, step back and shoot a little bit. Like,
yeah, man.
I think, obviously he was great at what he did, but it would have been great to see, like, what he really could have been,
I agree. And center's a tough position too. And we talked about it because it was so inside focused. Like, I wonder if he would have stretched his game out, he probably would have been one of those guys, because he was always a mid-ranger. But I bet you his skill set could have took that to that three-point line if he really wanted to.
Yeah.
He was definitely the type of player that could have done that. So we both had the same 5. Did you have anybody on the outside looking in that you're like, maybe?
Yeah, I think David Robinson, man. Like, I remember David Robinson, like, and I've been a lot of it too. I'm like you, I watch old stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love watching old stuff of players, and I'm like, that dude was a freak, man.
Yeah.
Like, watching him run the floor, like, those long legs, and, like, he could chase people down, block shots. He'd be on one side of the court, block a shot on the other side of the court. Like, he was crazy,
the
man.
strongest player and the fastest player on the court a lot of times that he played, dude, which is crazy, man. And you'd see, like, no body fat on him.
Yeah, oh my God.
And that left-handed, like, little double clutch type shot, dude. He used to knock that shit down all the time, man. I like D-Rob. What do you think? I'm going to drop a name just to finish this off. I'm going to drop a name for you and tell me what you think about him overall. Dwight Howard. Where do you got him ranked, man?
Man, I mean, Dwight Howard is an interesting player because he's caught in between two generations, you know?
He really is.
Like when he first got into the NBA, he was a center. He was important. He played a big role on his team. Mm-hmm. And as the league progressed, he didn't. And now he's a rebound and rim runner type player, you know? Like,
yeah.
So it's, man, that's
crazy
tough.
Because he was going like, you know, the first 10 seasons of his career, you know, he was leading rebounder, all defensive team, like scoring 20 and getting 15 boards a game, like really kind of changed the game, took that Magic team really by himself to the championship. And then it just kind of turned into like, I think he was getting a lot of stats. He was still getting like, I think 15 and 12 or whatever it was, but wasn't at the same impact. So it's crazy because I think he has the accolades to support a dunk contest, like being a Hall of Famer. But I wonder where he'll end up finishing on that list because of the tail end of his career. Yeah,
that's super interesting because I was looking at some of his stats and he has like all-time great stats, bro. Like we don't even realize this dude has been getting 12 to 15 rebounds a game for the last like 15 seasons. Like even when he wasn't like playing well, like when he was in Charlotte, like he wasn't playing well, but he was getting 12 rebounds a game, you know?
Yeah.
Like just on the low. He's only getting 11 points, but he was getting 12 rebounds. So like
he's gonna be. I don't know where he is on the all-time rebounding list, but he's got to start getting creeping up there. It's like top 5 soon.
Yeah, he's up there. So like if you just look at his stats, you're like, yeah, he's all-time great, you know. But then if you look at the last probably 7 years of his career, and there's not much to say about him, you know. Like,
and unfortunately, I think he might be one of the last like true centers that we see play the game for a while, man. I can't think about really just off the top of my head. I can't think of any true centers left like that. I think he might be one of like the last elite dying breed.
Yeah. I mean, the guys now, like, I mean, even his role on the Lakers is kind of like that's the new role now. Like you just come in and catch some lobs and get some rebounds, block some shots, you know.
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan was kind of like. I think DeAndre Jordan was kind of the first of that this kind of new wave of like, you don't need to do much, bro. Like, just go rebound and block shots and run the floor,
City.
You know?
Lob City, John Collins and Clint Capella.
Exactly. And now that's what all those dudes do. Like, he's just rebound and run.
It's crazy because like that position used to be all of that in one, and it's like they've just kind of split up that into like another power forward or just a dedicated rim guy. Like, I don't know. It's weird, man. But that's centers, dude. Top 5. We could probably go on about different centers all day, but I think this is for me. I kind of figured we'd have the same top 5, and it's interesting to hear what yours was, man.
Yeah, I'm interested to see kind of moving forward to other positions too, because that's when it's going to get. I think there's going to be a little bit of debating going on there because things are going to get interesting.
Hell yeah. Well, hey, another episode of Just Hoop Talk in the books. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, all social media platforms.
Lock it in.
Good Thompson, we out.
Peace.
For more NBA, college, and hoops coverage, be sure to subscribe to Just Hoop Talk podcast on YouTube and all streaming platforms.